If you are over 60 years old and you have been quietly afraid that your memory is starting to slip, you have 3 questions nobody has properly answered for you. I am going to ask them, and I am going to answer them. My name is Marcus Holloway. I am 103 years old. I taught high school music in Detroit for 44 years. I played jazz trumpet professionally for 60. My memory at 103 is sharper than most of my friends' memories were at 75. I can tell you the names of every student in my 1973 senior orchestra. I can tell you what we played at our spring concert. I can tell you what colored dress my late wife Eleanor wore that night. 1 habit, 30 minutes a day. That is the entire protocol. And it is not a crossword puzzle. It is not Sudoku. It is not a brain training app. Stay with me for 15 minutes. I will tell you exactly what it is, why it works, and the science published just last year that proves it. First question. Why is your memory failing? And is it really aging? Most of you have been told that memory loss is just part of getting older. That answer is wrong. Here is what your brain actually does as you age. Your brain is not a muscle. It does not waste away the way your legs do when you stop using them. Your brain is more like a city with thousands of roads and bridges connecting one neighborhood to another. When you are young, that city is alive with traffic. Information moves freely. As you age, some of those bridges fall into disrepair. Some neighborhoods become harder to reach. But the buildings are still there. What scientists call age-related memory loss is mostly the slow shutting down of bridges, not the destruction of memory itself. Your memories are still inside you. You have just lost some of the routes to get there. And the bridges that fall first are the ones that are not being used. A landmark study published in early 2026 from Rush University Medical Center followed 1,939 older adults for almost 8 years. The participants who scored highest on what they called cognitive enrichment had a 38% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. 38%. Same brains, same genetics, different daily habit. Memory loss is not your destiny. It is the slow result of decades of letting bridges go unused. Second question. Why aren't crossword puzzles and brain training apps keeping your memory sharp? If you have been doing the morning crossword for 20 years and your memory is still slipping, there is a reason. Most brain games exercise one specific type of cognition: word retrieval, pattern matching, number sequences. Your brain gets very good at solving crosswords, but the rest of the city is still not getting traffic. Memory is not a single function. It is a network. A meaningful memory experience involves at least 4 parts of your brain working together at the same time. 1. Emotional recognition. 2. Language and verbal memory. 3. Sensory processing. 4. Temporal sequencing. A crossword exercises one of those 4, sometimes 2. What you need is a habit that exercises all 4 at the same time. Research published in late 2025 identified one specific category of activity that reliably engages all 4 memory systems in older adults within just 30 minutes a day. The same study found that adults who engaged in this activity regularly had significantly lower risks of dementia and cognitive decline compared to those doing puzzles alone. Same time investment, different result entirely. You have been exercising the wrong way. Third question. Why do some 100-year-olds still recognize every face, remember every name, tell every story without missing a detail? I have been thinking about this for a long time. I taught music for 44 years. I have stayed in touch with hundreds of former students. When I attend the funerals of my own classmates from the 1940s, and I have attended many, I have watched something happen over and over. The classmates of mine who lost their memory first were not the ones with the worst genetics. They were not the ones with the worst diet. They were not even the ones with the worst health. They were the ones who stopped engaging with the thing they had loved most when they retired. The lawyer who stopped reading, the doctor who stopped attending lectures, the mechanic who stopped working with his hands. When you stop using the part of your brain that has been most alive your whole life, that is the bridge that falls first. And it falls fast. But the people I know who have stayed sharp into their late 90s, every single one of them is still actively engaged with the thing they have always loved most. Music, reading, painting, cooking, teaching, building. One activity, every day, that uses the whole brain the way it has been used for decades. The habit is 30 minutes of active engagement with music. Listening with intention, singing along, playing an instrument, or, if you have it, performing. 30 minutes every morning before you do anything else. Active engagement, not background music while you cook, not the radio while you drive. Sit down. Put on a piece of music you genuinely love. Listen with your whole attention. Research published in 2025 on ScienceDaily showed that older adults who regularly listened to or played music had significantly lower risks of dementia and cognitive decline. Music engages all 4 memory systems simultaneously: emotional, verbal, sensory, temporal. No other single activity exercises the brain so completely in such a short time. If you are not a musician, that is fine. Listen with intention. Sing in your kitchen. Hum along. The brain does not care whether you are good at it. The brain only cares that you are using all of it. My wife Eleanor passed in 2019. She was 87. I was 96. I thought my mind would go next. My friend James Walker, fellow trumpet player, known him 60 years. His wife had passed 2 years before mine, and I watched James decline. He stopped picking up his horn. He stopped going to the jazz club on Sundays. By the time I went to his funeral, he no longer recognized me. I stood at his graveside and I made a decision. I was not going to be James. The morning after his funeral, I sat down at 6 in the morning in this same chair and I put on a Coltrane record. I listened to the whole thing, 45 minutes. I have done it every morning since, for 7 years. Sometimes Coltrane, sometimes Billie Holiday, sometimes something my granddaughter has put on her playlist for me. My doctor checked my cognition last month. Mini mental state exam, 29 out of 30. At 103 years old. Eleanor would have been proud. Here is what I want you to do tomorrow morning. Before you check your phone, before you turn on the news, before anything, sit down, put on one piece of music that meant something to you when you were younger. Listen to all of it, with your whole attention. Do not multitask. Do not scroll. Do not check your watch. Just listen. Do this every morning for 14 days. You will feel something shift in your mind within a week. Your bridges will start carrying traffic again. My name is Marcus Holloway. I am 103 years old. I live in Detroit. I taught music for 44 years. I played trumpet for 60. 30 minutes of music every morning before anything else for 7 years. That is the habit that kept my mind alive after I lost the woman I loved. You do not need to fear your memory. You need to use it. Pick the music you have always loved. Sit with it tomorrow morning. The bridges will hold. If this reached you today, leave your first name and the name of one song that has always moved you in the comments. I read every one. Share this with someone who has stopped doing the thing they loved most. Subscribe. We are not finished.